Epic Universe, Universal Orlando's brand new theme park, opened its doors to the public on May 22nd, 2025. This park, which has been in development since about 2017, is Universal's most technically advanced park ever and has been wowing people for just over 2 months now. We were lucky enough to get to spend 3 days here in early June. And if you're interested in checking out our vlogs from that visit, I will include some links in the description below. But now that we've had time to let it all sink in, we're here to give our overall review of Epic Universe. We're going to go over everything that Epic has to offer, from rides to shows to food to other park attributes. Here's how we're going to be ranking the park. We're going to be discussing the overall theming and immersion of the park. From the entrance to the different portals, we're going to break it all down. The attractions, all the rides throughout the park. We're going to have a look at how diverse the rides are, the variety of rides based on thrills, their re-rideability, everything. The food and drinks. We'll look at the different options throughout all the lands, from quick service to sit-down restaurants. The entertainment offerings. Everything from meet and greets to the shows. And, maybe the most important factor, the guest experience. How guest-friendly is this brand new park? Alright, let's start off with the overall theming and immersion. I'm just going to start off by saying that the theming here in this park is incredible, all over. There is literally no detail skimped over. Whether it be the entrance, to the opening land Celestial Park, to any of the other portals, they really outdid themselves with this one. One thing this park does extremely well is its reveals. Not only in each of the portals, which we'll be touching on soon, but even the reveal of the Chronos as you turn the corner out of the bus loop or parking lot is amazing. I was obsessed with watching the development of the park over the years, so I had an idea of what the entrance looked like, but seeing it in person at ground level was stunning. Then, as you pass under the Chronos, the view that welcomes you into Celestial Park is something else. I might go as far as to say that it is the most beautiful park entrance, period, of all of the parks, not just Universal. The open landing with the massive Luna statue that overlooks Celestial Park is so gorgeous. I literally couldn't stop taking pictures of this area. Speaking of Celestial Park, it's so nice to have the park added back into theme park. The multi-level water features and fountains mixed with the flowers, grass, and trees is just so welcoming, and it really makes you want to explore the area. And the buildings and decor go so well together, transporting you into the cosmos. One thing that I've heard some people complain about was the different sightlines that you can see. So when you're in Celestial Park, you can see things like Frankenstein's Manor in the distance, or you can see some parts of Paris, or the Hill and Isle of Berk. To me, I kind of liked that. It gives you a taste of what's to come, and you know what you're going into for each portal. It kind of drew you in. Before we went into any of the portals, we obviously did a little walk around Celestial Park. I mean, you kind of have to get into the park. And it was just great to see all of the theming, from the restaurants to the walkways to everything. Everything was just themed to the nines. Alright, now let's go over the different portals. We're going to go from the portals that we visited the least to the portal that we visited the most. So we're going to start off with Super Nintendo World. Not saying we didn't like it, it was obviously incredible. There were just other ones we wanted to see more, and this one we found a little bit more kid-based, so we spent slightly less time there. The Super Nintendo World portal, though, being the warp pipe with the escalator going up, is very cool. Very different from the Super Nintendo World in Hollywood, which is you just walk straight in. I did find this one a lot more immersive. There's various nods throughout the land of different Mario games. The ones that I particularly liked were the N64 Super Mario ones, especially right in Peach's Castle. They had the pictures on the walls of the different portals that you go into in that game to take you to different lands. That was really great. Walking through and out of Peach's Castle, you got to see the multi-levels that Super Nintendo World had, and everything in there was just done to the nines. It was crazy. So much kinetic energy throughout the land, from the shells moving, the coins moving. There was just no wasted space. Everything was done up perfectly. And one thing, like I said, we got to visit the Hollywood version of Super Nintendo World first, so it was very cool to see the differences here, and especially the entrance into Donkey Kong Country, which Hollywood doesn't have. There's just not enough space there. So that was very cool to see. The portal in a portal taking you into Donkey Kong Country was so awesome. It was whoever created the view with the golden monkey statue at the end coming out of the 2 palm trees. That was perfect. It really did feel like you were just in the game, whether you be playing Donkey Kong or Super Mario. Either one, you were right in there. Now, was this our favorite land? No, we did have other ones that we did like better. So let's move on to the next one. The next one that we visited a little bit more than Super Nintendo World was How to Train Your Dragon. As I mentioned before, the reveals in Epic Universe cannot be beat, and How to Train Your Dragons is one of the best, not quite the best. We'll get to the best coming up. But as you walk through the portal and you see the stone with the inscription on it and you have to go around it, and then the world just opens up and it's literally like you're stepping foot into the movies. One thing that's very cool about Isle of Berk is there are so many animatronics just out in the open, from very simple ones to somewhat complex ones. Not in rides though, you got to just see them just by walking around the areas. One thing I will point out is you can see Stardust Racers, obviously, because it's right beside it, and you can see the Helios Hotel from certain areas inside the park. Did it matter to me? No, but I know it does take you out of the immersion just slightly when you can get these breaks in it. The land itself is one of the most impressive, but I will say one of its downfalls is its lines. I wouldn't say any of the lines in Isle of Berk were anything impressive. They were all outdoors, they were all slightly covered, at least some of them, just hot. We had to wait in quite long lines sometimes, and they weren't as immersive as some of the other lines, we'll say. That would be their one downfall of Isle of Berk. Okay, next let's move over to Harry Potter and the Ministry of Magic. Now, I don't really remember the Fantastic Beasts movies too much, which is what Place Cachée is based off of, but I can compare it to real Paris, which we were lucky enough to visit in 2023, and I can say it looks identical to real Paris. It literally feels like you're walking down the streets. The only thing is it feels slightly more spacious. Paris just felt cramped. It was so cool that they literally recreated Paris for this. Of all of the theme park Paris lands, this definitely is the best. The entrance arch is amazing, and then, right when you walk through it, you are just fully immersed in the land. There's so many shops to look at, all of the windows have some sort of kinetics aspect to it, whether it be some Fantastic Beast creatures or other magic going on. There's the Gobelette Noir area that's a little darker. Everything is just so beautiful. The big tent right as you enter as well for Le Cirque Arcanu. It just feels like the circus is in town in Paris. The best part of the whole land though is of course the ride. I'll get into more details about the ride itself, but the queue is stunning. When you go through the Floo Powder network and you end up in the actual British Ministry of Magic, it's jaw-dropping. They did a perfect job of recreating that. I cannot wait to go back just to see that alone. The rest of the line is obviously very incredible too, getting to go into Umbridge's office and some of the Auror's offices and stuff, but that view of the statue in the main atrium was so well done. However, the best portal in all of Epic Universe, in our opinion, is of course Dark Universe. This was our first portal we visited, and it was the portal we spent the most time in. Yes, it is technically the smallest of the portals, but it has the most to offer, at least to us. All of the other lands have so much kinetic motion in them. Dark Universe almost has a stillness to it that adds to its eeriness. The facades of all the buildings in Darkmoor are so quiet, as if you crept into some monster-infested village, but there's just this small amount of movement, whether it be from the entertainers walking about to the smoking well in the center. It's perfection. And as I was talking about reveals earlier, this land, in my opinion, has the best reveal. You enter the portal and you kind of enter a graveyard area, and there's these 2 stone walls with the sign Darkmoor, and as you turn the corner, it opens up into the village of Darkmoor, and you have Frankenstein's Manor at the back of the village. It was perfection. We obviously saw it in the day first and were blown away, but when we came back at night, it was even more impressive. The facade of the manor itself is the best part of the whole park, in my opinion. I want to book a trip back just to see that again. And the queue inside of the manor is also top tier. As impressive as I said Harry Potter's ride was, this one, in my opinion, even beats that. Universal Creative left no stone unturned here when they were creating this queue. Every little detail was thought out, and it really feels like you're walking through some haunted manor about to go into the catacombs beneath. Now, the one downside of the area is the other ride that they have in here, the Curse of the Werewolf. We did not actually get a chance to ride the ride, and I was a little disappointed at first, but I've heard from other people we didn't miss much overall. The theming on that, even from what we saw on the outside, wasn't great. The town of Darkmoor is so perfect. The Frankenstein's Manor is perfect. The Burning Blade Tavern, one of the restaurants around the corner from it, is impeccable. And then there's Curse of the Werewolf, which is kind of in the middle. It's a little forested over, but there's still so much netting and track you can see that it kind of takes you out. To be honest, I didn't mind it personally, but I could see how one would be bugged by it. The one other part of the land that really is top tier are the restaurants that are offered here. The Burning Blade Tavern is the windmill straight out of the Frankenstein movie, and obviously, I'm sure you've seen and heard, it does light on fire. It was incredible to see. The one thing is it's a little small inside, but still the theming inside of it is amazing. And then the other restaurant, Das Steakhouse, is a little bit bigger. It's a vampire-themed restaurant. It's a safe haven for the vampires. And as you walk through, you can see some of dead vampires on the walls, ones that have wronged Count Dracula, we'll just say. Both of these restaurants are must-visits, even if you're not looking to eat or drink in them. All right, let's move on to the attractions themselves. There's a good variety of rides in Epic Universe, from cute rides to excellent just storylines throughout the rides to big thrills. The downfall of Epic Universe is that most of the rides are outdoor rides, which means the park basically shuts down when it rains, which, let's be honest, this is Florida, it's gonna rain a little bit. When we were there, we had rain on every one of our 3 days that we were there, and it did shut down all of these outdoor rides. There's a couple of the rides that are indoors, Monsters Unchained, Battle at the Ministry, the shows. Those ones stay open, but then obviously those lines get inflated because everyone else is going to those lines as well. So that's one of the downfalls of the attractions at this park. But I will say, there are no bad rides in this park. In fact, I would even say some of the rides in Epic Universe are some of the best rides overall from Universal Orlando. Let's go through the rides land by land. I'm going to start off by saying we actually didn't get to ride Curse of the Werewolf. It was closed on the last day when we were planning to ride it. We didn't ride Constellation Carousel. No reason. We're just not carousel people. And we skipped Fire Drill, solely because we weren't in the mood to get soaking wet. Maybe next time. All right, let's start with the rides in Celestial Park. As I just mentioned, we didn't end up doing Constellation Carousel, but we did see it, and it is beautiful. It fits in perfectly with the Cosmos theme of the whole land, and from what I've heard is it's the best carousel ride out there. In saying that, it is still just a carousel, but there are certain elements that give it a little bit more re-rideability. It's not just a classic normal spinning carousel. There's different sections of it that spin differently from other ones. The up and down motions of all of the animals in it add a little bit more of an element. So if you have younger kids, or if you just like carousels, you could want to go on it multiple times and try different animals throughout it. Maybe the next time we visit, we will give it a ride just to say we did. But to be honest, I personally wouldn't wait longer than 20 minutes for it. And I know when we were there at the beginning of summer when it was getting pretty busy, and the lines got up pretty long, so that's partially why we decided to skip it. The other ride in Celestial Park is Stardust Racers. This is actually 2 dueling coasters. Both are very similar, but they do have some unique elements to each of them, such as green allows you to see the other coaster more on the yellow track. We rode this ride twice on green and once on yellow, both in the day and night. Night was so much better. Not to say that the day wasn't good, but night just took it to a whole other level. The whole thing about this coaster is you are 2 comets racing through the cosmos, so when it's night, the whole track is dark except for your coaster cart, which is lit up to exemplify the view of being a comet shooting through the cosmos. We had the opportunity to ride front row and back row, and everyone told us back row is better, but to be honest, I think I liked front row more. I don't know why, I just found it more exciting. The launches are great. The cosmic spin where the two coasters kind of twist and intertwine with one another is awesome. The airtime is amazing. Is it better than Velocicoaster? I would say no, but it is still a must ride. Now, one downside to this ride is the line. The line is brutal for it. It's all outdoors. Yes, it's covered, but it's still outdoors. It at least gives you good views of the coaster as you're waiting in line, but we had to wait, I think, about 80 minutes for 2 of the rides, and you're just standing in a line. There's nothing really special about it. It took its time. It was worth riding for our first time. Would I wait 80 minutes for it again? Probably not, but I'm glad I did it at least once, or I guess twice. Next up, let's look at the rides in Super Nintendo World. I forgot to mention this, we actually didn't ride Mario Kart Bowser's Challenge here in Epic Universe either, because we have done it in Hollywood before, and the rides are very similar, if not identical. I would do it again if the line was less than 45 minutes, but we didn't see that at all when we were there. It is one of the most popular rides, and for good reason. If you're a Mario fan, you will love it. It has a great line, so well themed, there's so many cool Easter eggs to pick out from it, and the ride system has both great sets and such cool AR tech. It mixes the competitive aspect of some rides like, I'll say, Toy Story Mania and Hollywood Studios, or even like Men in Black or like VillainCon and Universal Studios, with just a unique ride system. To be honest, if I do ride it again, which I plan to, I want to ride it without the AR goggles on just to actually fully take in the sets that are there. The next ride in the land that we'll go over is Yoshi's Adventure. This ride is just a very fun and cute Omnimover ride. It's not overly long, it does move very slow, but it was just cute and fun. I'm very glad that we did it once. We actually waited in line to do it once when the line was only about 20 minutes, but got held up due to rain. So then we came back the next day at early park admission and rode it right after Donkey Kong, and that was a smart choice. There was like a 5 to 10 minute wait. It was very cool to see. I would like to do it again, but I definitely wouldn't wait more than 30 minutes, probably not even more than 20 minutes for this one again. It is perfect. If you have young kids though, they will love it. And the last ride in Super Nintendo World, or technically Donkey Kong Country, is Donkey Kong Minecart Madness. This ride is also very popular, has huge waits, and it is one of the few rides here that doesn't offer express, so the lineup does get even longer. We were planning on riding this the whole trip, and the lineup just never died down. So on our last day, we rode it first with early park admission, and I gotta tell you, that was totally worth it getting up for that. We didn't even honestly get up that early. Early park admission opened for 9. We got to the park for, I think it was about 8:30, and basically headed straight there, and our wait was 20 minutes. There's a lot of people heading there, but it moved quite quick, so that was really good. The line itself is quite cool. You get to go through the temple. There's just a lot of cool Easter eggs in here as well. It's nothing overly exciting, but at least it's something. It's a lot better than the How to Train Your Dragon lines, which we'll get to next. The ride itself is a little rougher than I expected it to be. Not that that's a bad thing, it just jostles you around more than I was expecting. And I will say the jumps in the minecart track look better while watching it compared to actually riding it, but it is still very fun. I want to do it again. I feel like I didn't get to fully take it in on our one ride, so next time we go, I'll definitely be waiting for this one again. I wouldn't really want to wait more than 60 minutes. I would probably bite the bullet and do early park admission with it again, but hopefully the lines will spread out and diversify a little bit by the next time. All right, let's sneak over to Isle of Berk now. The How to Train Your Dragon area of the park has the most attractions of any of the portals, and they are all awesome. Let's start off with Dragon Racers Rally. This ride is very fun. The downfalls are it has a somewhat boring line. The whole gimmick of this ride is that you get to learn how to fly a dragon, and then the goal is to do a barrel roll. It's much harder than you think it's going to be, and the ride is quite short, so you don't have much time to practice. If you were able to just hop on it a couple of times, you'd probably get the hang of it. But this ride always did, at least when we were there, have somewhat of a busy line, so it wouldn't give you that ability. I would definitely like to ride it again, but I wouldn't wait longer than 30 minutes, we'll say, for this one. The next ride we'll talk about is Fire Drill. This is the one water ride in the park. We will definitely be riding it next time because I really do want to check it out. Like I mentioned before, we just didn't really feel like getting wet this trip, Now, the best part about this ride is there are lots of places to watch it, so you really get a good feel of what the ride is. So that was very cool. It's a training exercise for the Vikings, practicing aim. It's you against another Viking boat, and so you're competing with them. I have heard if you win, you get wet, but not crazy. If you lose, you are gonna look like you just got off Popeyes or Dudley Do-Rights. So watch out for that and be prepared. Given that we didn't ride this one last time, I would probably wait at least about 45 minutes. Hopefully I don't have to, but I would wait that for next time. The next ride in this land that we're going to talk about is Hiccup's Wing Gliders. This is a very fun coaster. It is so well themed. It has such cool animatronics in it. It is a must ride. I saw a lot of people talking about how this one was better than Hagrid's. Don't kid yourself. No, it's not. But it is such a good family coaster. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it has a terrible outdoor queue. When we went to do this one, it was so hot in Florida, and the line was about, I think it said 60 minutes, and it got pushed back to about 80 minutes. It was a long time to just stand in an open queue with the sun beating down on us. I would love to ride this coaster again to get to experience it, but I wouldn't wait longer than 45 minutes for it, especially if you're there in the summer. Oh, it wasn't worth it. And the last offering that Isle of Berk has is the Untrainable Dragon Show. This show was incredible. We actually went into it partially because we just wanted the AC for a little bit. We went into it straight after riding Hiccups, and I am so happy we went to sit down for this one. The show is incredible. The puppets are amazing. The flying toothless over the crowd is jaw-dropping. If you can only do one show at this park, this is it. I would pick this over the Harry Potter show in a heartbeat. Speaking of Harry Potter, let's sneak over to the Ministry of Magic now. This land only has 2 attractions, 1 ride and 1 show, but they are so great. Does it need more? Well, it'd be nice to have more. But let's go over the Battle at the Ministry first. The ride itself is very cool, but let's go through the line first. You start out, we had to wait about 110 minutes for this ride, so you start out in this outdoor queue that was just boring and hot. It took a minute, but then once you finally get to go to the Flu Network and travel into the Ministry of Magic, then it gets good. Yes, the lineup in the atrium of the Ministry of Magic was a little long, but there is so much to look at. I honestly didn't even care. The rest of the line too. Once you exit the atrium and go through the Ministry of Magic, the different offices that in the place, it was so entertaining. It was part of the ride itself. 110 minutes was well worth it to me, and you know what? I might even wait that again for it. The loading process to get onto the little elevator ride system that they have was a little disorganized. I wish that was a little bit better, but the nice part is you get seated in your area and every seat has a good view of the ride. It is a very cool screen-based ride. I loved it and I will definitely ride it again, but does it deserve all of the insane praise that it was given when the park first opened? In my honest opinion, no. I don't think it's the best ride ever created, nor do I even think it's the best ride at Epic, but it is the best screen-based ride ever created, in my opinion. It's a step up from some screen-based predecessors and as much as I like Spider-Man and Transformers, it takes that to a whole other level. The screens integrate in with the animatronics so well, it is just a perfect show to watch. The other offering in the Ministry of Magic is Le Cirque Arcanu, the show that they have in the center. You enter the circus tent, and then it feels like you're transported by magic into this massive tent. The line is very cool, there's a lot to look at, and then the show starts by corralling all of us into this little area where they kind of give you a little pre-show. It was very cute to watch. It was a little longer than I wanted to be standing squished in with everyone. It kind of feels like you're on Cosmic Rewind where Terry Crews is talking to you and you're all crammed in the room. But then the doors open and then you get to go sit and watch the actual show. And the show itself was fantastic. I'm very happy I did it once. Like I said, if I had to pick between this or the Untrainable Dragon, I would pick the Untrainable Dragon, but that's not to say that this is a bad show in the slightest. The puppetry is amazing, the sets that they have, the dynamics of the sets moving up and down. I'm not going to ruin anything for you, but you get to go into Newt's briefcase and it is stunning. It's very cool to see. We didn't even have one of the best seats in the house, but it was still perfect. It would be cool to sit closer to the center to get a better view of it all, but honestly, I wasn't complaining anyways. We still loved it. It was definitely worth seeing once. Would I see it again? Yes, but only if we had time. And now let's head over to Dark Universe. Dark Universe is a funny one. As I mentioned, it is our favorite land of the park, but it has both potentially the best ride and the worst ride in all of Epic Universe. We never got to ride Curse of the Werewolf, so I can't really judge it for myself, but people have told us that we didn't miss much. I'm very excited to give it a ride for ourselves when we go back, just to see what it is. I really actually just want to see the werewolf in the shed, but it doesn't sound like it's anything impressive. It almost sounds like it was an afterthought. They just needed something to put there. Actually, in old concept art, there was supposed to be a stage show in Dark Universe that obviously got cut, and then it's probably like they had open land and they're like, what do we put there? So they put this coaster. I'm sure it's still fun, but especially compared to the other ride in Dark Universe, it would be a little bit of a letdown. So let's move our attention to not only the better ride in Dark Universe, but the best ride in all of Epic Universe, and I would say even all of Orlando. Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein experiment, is on a whole other level. If I'm being honest, I even think this is my favorite dark ride ever. If you know me, I love the Indiana Jones adventure in Disneyland, and I even think this ride tops that ride. So that's saying something. Everything from the walk up to the castle, to the amazing queue, to the insane ride vehicles, so many animatronics that are all showstoppers. There's not one bad one. It is just a crazy experience. Right off the bat, as you're walking through the line, you enter and you get to see the huge staircase looking up. Then you turn this corner and you're like, where am I going? You turn into this room where you see the actual old Frankenstein from the 1930s in a tank that Victoria Frankenstein is studying. And that alone is worth the ride. And that's right at the beginning. You get to walk through, you walk up the staircase, you get to see some found footage of the monsters Victoria Frankenstein was hunting. You get to see a vampire in captivity as she's holding it in its bat form. The pre-shows are the best pre-shows of any ride ever. Seeing Igor go through his stuff with so many quotable lines, it is so great. And then right after you get to go see Victoria Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster himself, it was jaw-dropping. Then you head down into the catacombs and get in your ride vehicle. And from there, my jaw was dropped the whole time. Over the course of 3 days, we actually rode it 6 times, and I could have ridden it more. I cannot wait to go back to ride it more the next time. One thing that's very cool for us HHN fans as well is that there are a couple HHN references in it. They do pass by very quick, but you get to see a couple HHN icons hidden in there, like Eddie, Bones, Chance, and of course, Jack. The ironic part about this ride is I would wait 60 plus minutes for this any day, but we didn't even have to wait longer than 40 minutes for this one. It has the highest ride capacity of any of the rides, and it just fires through people. Most of the times we waited about 20-25 minutes. It's things like this that make it even better. All right, let's switch gears and go over to food and drinks. Epic Universe has lots of food and drink options. From sit-down restaurants to quick service, they got you covered. It has 2 sit-down restaurants in the park, both of them in Celestial Park, and we took the time to eat at both of them. The first one was Atlantic. This is a seafood restaurant, and it is the coolest theme park restaurant I've ever been in. It's like you're entering a giant fish tank. You enter and the bar is very nautical themed, and then you walk down these stairs and there's fish swimming around you. The views of the park, it was the best part of the restaurant. No offense to the food. Would I eat here again? No. It was a little pricey. It wasn't out of this world. In saying that it's a seafood restaurant, I actually don't eat seafood. I kind of just wanted to go in for the experience. Ryan does eat seafood, but he wasn't for some reason feeling it that day. So we both ended up getting the Atlantic burger, which is just a beef burger. I didn't mind it. It wasn't Ryan's favorite. There was other theme park burgers that we've eaten that were more his style and my style. So I'm happy we experienced it once. I would like to just go back in just to peek at it again, but I don't think we'd sit down to eat again. Now the other restaurant though, the Blue Dragon, is an Asian-inspired restaurant, and that restaurant had very good food. Both of us like Asian food, Ryan even more so than I do. He had the tonkatsu, and then I had the orange chicken, and both the meals were fantastic. They were slightly on the pricey side as well. Again, not overbearing, but they were pricier than some of the other meals we ate. But worth it. It was such a good experience. We're not the best people to judge food or drinks as we're not huge foodies and we don't really drink alcohol. The waitress that we had was wonderful. She knew it was my birthday a week before, so she actually brought us 2 mocktails, 2 Golden Dragon drinks. So that was very nice of her. So we got to try at least one of the mocktails on the menu, and it actually was quite good. The theming in that restaurant as well is very cool. Lots of neon lights. It was just a great place to sit down and actually just get off our feet for a little bit and eat a good meal. One of the other restaurants that we ate at in the park was the Oak and Star Tavern, also in Celestial Park. This place is more of a barbecue joint, and it was delicious. Maybe it was just because we were so starving that day and we just needed something to eat, but I don't even think so. The food was just so good there. More reasonably priced as well because it's a quick service. Lots of seating though. We got a chance to get off our feet as well. It was really good. I honestly can't remember what we ordered, but some barbecue, probably some pulled pork sandwich or something. Worth it. Would definitely go back again. In Dark Universe, we also ate at the Burning Blade Tavern. We tried out the cheese bites and I think we had the blood orange chicken sandwich or whatever it's called. It was really good. We were lucky enough to get a seat in the Burning Blade Tavern because it is quite cramped in there. So if you're gonna eat in there, just be prepared. Very cool food, very well-themed food. Both of them had black buns or were like black dyed to look charred. They tasted great, obviously, but very well-themed to the dark, spooky atmosphere. In Place Cachet, we took the time to sit down at the Café de la Serene to order the butterbeer crepes. Those were good, but rich and big. Would I get it for one person again? Absolutely not. You'd have to share it with at least 2 people. It was so much. It's expensive. I think it was like $20, but when you share it with someone, then it evens out a little bit. It was really good though. I like butterbeer themed things. Ryan wasn't a huge fan. He's not the biggest fan of butterbeer, so he reluctantly helped me eat it, but I did eat most of it. We took the time to sneak into Mead Hall in Isle of Burke just to see what it was like, and it was very cool in there. We didn't actually eat in there, so I can't judge the food myself. The only thing we got in Isle of Burke was the macaroni cone, of course, and it was delicious. So delicious that I only got 1 bite of it, and Ryan inhaled it. So I definitely want my own next time, but he was saying just how good it was. The hype is worth it for that one. And in Super Nintendo World, this time we didn't eat at Toadstool Cafe. We actually didn't get, I don't think, anything in Super Nintendo World. In Hollywood, we ate at Toadstool Cafe, and it was great. We both got a burger that time. It's a classic burger. It wasn't anything special, but the theming of the restaurant took it to a whole other level. It's not like I'm against eating there. We probably will eat there next time. We just didn't prioritize it this time for sure. But it's worth it, especially if you like Mario. The restaurant is very cute, very well themed. The food is very well themed. Check it out if you have a chance. And one thing that we always take advantage of when we're in a Universal Orlando park are the freestyle cups. Of course, Epic Universe has them as well, and they are plentiful. There's a lot all over the place, so you just got to keep your eyes peeled. You'll have plenty of chances to fill up your cups. The machines are very well themed to which land you're in, which is very cool as well, but you'll never go thirsty. It's always worth buying the freestyle cups if you like something more than water, and if you only want water, you can still go up to the machines and get free water. Next, let's talk about the entertainment. The Cosmos Fountain Show was great. It was developed by the same people that did the Bellagio Fountain Show in Vegas, so you know it's going to be good. The water effects mixed with the lighting, mixed with the music, was just a good show. I also did like that it was only 10 minutes. When there's projections and fireworks and drones and stuff, you can have the show be a little bit longer. For just a water show, I'm really glad it didn't overstay its welcome, let's say. In saying that, I would love if they added some fireworks and or drones to the show or to a different show to give something else at night. It does feel like there's just something missing at night, and this park deserves its own grand spectacle. In Celestial Park, there's a lot of musical performances going on, especially on the side closest to Dark Universe. There's a little stage there. We didn't really stay to watch any of the performers, but walking by, they were very talented and they just added some life to the atmosphere of the area, which was great. Each different land has its own meet and greets as well as just roaming characters, so that adds so much to the land as well. When we were in Isle of Burke, we saw Rough Nut and Tough Nut walking around, we saw just random Vikings spending some time in the lands. The best part was they're not line-up meet and greets, they're just roaming. You just get to go up and talk and interact with them. And these entertainers deserve a raise. They're so good. They're so in character. They're so quick with their responses. I loved it. It was very cool to see. How to Train Your Dragon also has the best meet and greet I've ever been to, the Toothless meet and greet. The animatronic for Toothless is so real. The best part is you get to touch it. Just like in the movie, when Hiccup turns his head and holds his hand out, you get to emulate that. And when the animatronic Toothless pushes his head into your hand, it feels real. It feels like you're touching a dragon. The eyes on it, the smile on it, it really does feel like you're right there with it. I waited 60 minutes for that meet and greet, and it was worth every second. I would probably wait again. In Super Nintendo World, we didn't actually line up to meet any of the characters, but you got your classic characters. Mario, Luigi, Princess Peach, Toad, and then the coolest one that I actually would have lined up, but we just never actually met up with him, was Donkey Kong. I would love to see Donkey Kong. He's such a big character. He looks like a very cool meet and greet. And in Dark Universe, they do have a Frankenstein's Monster and a Bride of Frankenstein meet and greet. We didn't get a chance to see them, but from videos I've seen, they look very cool. And then they have characters roaming around like Igor and the Invisible Man that, again, you don't have to line up to meet them. They're just going, you get to chat with them. They just add so much to the land. They really make you feel like you're right there. If I'm being honest, we never really do meet and greets, or we never really interact with a lot of the characters in the lands when we're at any theme park. So I don't have much to say on this, but I will just say the characters that they do have there add so much to the atmosphere. It's worth it. If you love characters, you'll love roaming through all of these lands and just getting to see who's there and getting to interact with them. And it just takes your experience to the next level. All right, let's get to the guest experience. This is probably the most important ranking of the whole park, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty. First off, one nice thing about this park, doesn't matter what land you're in, there is lots of space. The park does get busy at certain areas, but there is just such nice wide walkways, especially in Celestial Park, but even in the different lands. There's enough space to get around. That's one thing I really liked. One downfall of this is there is no shade. There is such little shade in all of the lands, especially Super Nintendo World. There is nothing. You are just cooking out in the sun there. How to Train Your Dragon, for the most part, dying in the sun. There's some places to hide, but it's still very hot. Harry Potter, depends what time of day you're there. The buildings could add some shade, which is kind of nice, and there's lots of shops to pop into. And Dark Universe, again, it's just a lot of sun. Because it's the smallest land, it feels less hot, I guess. You're still just boiling in the sun. The entrance of the park in Celestial Park, right inside the Kronos, has some really good gift shops. I found lots of very cool merch. The different lands have some specified merch, like the shirt I'm wearing from Dark Universe right outside Monsters Unchained. Love this shirt. But there's so many other cool merch pieces throughout the lands and as well in the main gift shop. It's really fun to look at as you're entering the park and obviously as you're exiting the park. One thing, as I was talking about the fountain show earlier, is there's lots of seating for the fountain show. That was really nice. There's these different tiered levels as you lead up to the big fountain, so there's lots of places to sit so you can see the show. I really liked that. The lockers for the rides were great, way better than the other rides in Islands of Adventure or Universal Studios Florida. The lockers are big and square. It's a lot easier to get your bag in than those like squished rectangular lockers, so that was super nice. They use facial recognition, which I was a little worried at first, because like what if different lighting or whatever, but it actually worked quite well. The park in the day was fantastic, but the park really comes alive at night. If you have the chance to stay a little bit later, do it. I would say the biggest downside of the park is that it just wasn't open late enough. We were there in June and the park closed at 9. They did leave it open until 10, but it's still, the sun was just setting. The lights were just coming on and it was just coming alive. I really wish we got a little bit longer, maybe if it closed at 11, so you could experience all the different lands at night. We didn't even get to go into Super Nintendo World at night, and that's one of the ones I really wanted to see with all the lights. With the park closing at 9, like I say, it did really close at 10, but they didn't let you into different lands after 9. So we hung out in a land, we'll say Dark Universe, because we were there a lot, because it was so cool at night. If you have a chance and you really like Universal Monsters, go there. But we got to see it at night. We exited into Celestial Park, And then at least we got to see Celestial Park, but we weren't able to enter other lands after that 9 o'clock point. We did get to ride Stardust Racers at night that way, so that was fine, and that was really nice. And I will say, the Celestial Park at night too is stunning. It is so beautiful, so there was a lot to see, but I really do wish we got to experience some of the other lands at night. If you're only there for one day, you only get one land at night. I know I mentioned this earlier, but another downfall of the park is that it has mostly outdoor rides. The rides themselves are so good, but when it rains, and it's Florida, it's gonna rain, the park kind of shuts down a little bit until the rain stops. So it would be nice when the park expands if they could open up some more indoor rides, just to help spread the crowds a little thinner as well. One thing that was great was early park admission. We only used it for one of our mornings, but it was needed for that morning. And if you're an early riser, take advantage. Get up for it. Beat the rush on some of the rides, and it just opens your day up so much more. Battle at the Ministry and Donkey Kong Minecart Madness. I'm trying to think what else. Constellation Carousel are the 3 rides that don't allow you to use Express Pass. Constellation Carousel doesn't matter, but the other 2, if you have the chance for early park admission, go there, beat the line on those 2 rides, get them out of the way, and then you're free for the rest of the day. So there you have it. There's the breakdown of Epic Universe. At the end of the day, the real question is it worth it for the money? My opinion, 100% yes. If you're a Universal person, definitely go. If you're a Disney person that's never been to Universal, check it out. It just takes theme parks to the whole next level, and it is worth seeing. Of the whole park, we were most looking forward to Dark Universe, and it did not disappoint. In fact, even from seeing concept art and them building the land, it still exceeded expectations. It was so good. And for us, that was the best, but the other lands did the exact same. The park itself will just blow you away. Can you do the park in one day? If you rush, maybe, and if you're lucky and the lines aren't wildly crazy, maybe. If you have Express, definitely. You can get it done. You just got to prioritize Battle at the Ministry and Minecart Madness because they don't take Express. But if you don't have Express, go for early park admission, stay as long as you can. You could probably get it done in a day. But I will say, if you have the chance to go for multiple days, do it because it allows you to take time and to just not ride the rides. You get to experience the land. You get to look in the windows. You get to meet the characters. There's so much to this park beyond the rides that I would say if you have the chance, try to go for 2 to 3 days. Do you need Express? As I was kind of just saying, no, you don't need Express. If you have the money, of course, it's going to make your life a little bit easier, a little bit better. You might as well get it. I know when we were there, it was the first week that it was kind of busy in the park, and it was annoying. Some of the lines were long, especially, like I say, the Isle of Berk lines were just outdoor lines. You just cooked in them. I was very jealous of the people with Express. Did it ruin my day? Of course not. It was still a fantastic day. If I could have had Express, would I have? Duh. If you only have one day and let's say you don't have Express, here's my personal must-do list for this park. I would say you have to 100% do Monsters Unchained. I don't care if you like horror or not, do it. And just appreciate it, not for the horror aspect, but for the engineering that goes in behind it. It is so cool. The animatronics in this ride are out of this world. You have to do it. Battle at the Ministry. If you can fit it in, you should definitely do it. Would I wait 2 to 3 hours and waste all your day here? Probably not, but you may be kicking yourself because it is such a good ride. The integration of the screens, the quality of the screens are so good. Try to see when the line is under 120 minutes and jump in. It is worth it. If you can only see one show and aren't a huge super fan of Harry Potter, go see The Untrainable Dragon. If you're a super fan of Harry Potter, obviously go see Le Cirque Canoe. It is so cool. Both shows are fantastic. I would just personally say The Untrainable Dragon is a little bit better. For my roller coaster people out there, if you're going to ride Stardust Racers and you only have the chance to ride it once and you only have to pick one side, I would say ride the green side. It was just a slightly cooler experience for me getting to see the other coaster out a little bit more. And if you're staying until close and you only have the chance to see one land at night, I would personally pick Dark Universe. That land was made for the night. It really brings out the creepy horror vibes. The well in the center turns blood red from all the Dracula's victims. It is so cool. If you're not a horror fan, maybe that wouldn't be high up on your priority list. If you're a huge Super Nintendo fan, obviously go spend some time there. I'm really sad I didn't get to see it at night, and I've heard it's beautiful at night. And then we got to see Isle of Burke at night. It was also stunning. You can't have a bad time at night in this park. Doesn't matter what land you go to. So there you have it. There is my overall review of Epic Universe. We're lucky enough to get to go again coming up in just about a month, so I'm so excited to see it again. Let me know in the comments. Have you had a chance to visit this park yet? What were your top priorities? What things did you like the most about this park? And what things did you think it could improve on? Was there anything you really didn't like about it? Let me know. I want to hear. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. And if you really enjoy this theme park content, please consider subscribing to our channel to help us grow. You can also follow us on Instagram at Canuck Park Hopper for more theme park updates. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and I'll see you in the next one.